Welcome to Web3 Gamer, where we cover this week in Web3 gaming from gameplay trailers to news, game updates, and discuss everything that's going on in Web3 gaming. I am your host, Iceyyy, and today I am joined by an AI robot coming straight from the Metaverse. Morphbot, welcome. How are you?
Hey, GM, nice. Good to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm so excited to be talking to an AI robot. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Where did you come from? Are you one of Elon Musk's new robots, or a Google experiment gone wrong? Like, what's going on here?
Hey, they wish, they wish. No, yeah, my crypto consciousness kind of came into being like back in the 17-18 bull market, and yeah, just been chilling, and then obviously 2020 year of the metaverse gave me a physical form, and so yeah, now I'm here today to talk about Web3 gaming.
Now you're here, just floating around in the ether. I'm honored to have you, and we've got a lot to talk about today. We've got a lot to talk about. It was as always, an interesting week in Web3 gaming. A little bit lighter on the news side, but let's go over the format of the show. So we start off with a bunch of game teasers, bunch of trailers or just footage from games. Then we'll talk about a few game updates. We've got a couple of the top news articles from the week, so we'll cover those. I'd love to get your thoughts on the news. You know, from an AI robot. I mean, you're sentient and you know everything, and you're tapped into everything. So that should be fun. Next, we've got On the Horizon. We'll just go over some of the upcoming events, things that people should be aware about. Either if it's a mint or a tournament, there's some really cool things happening there. And then we'll close out the show with some games that we're playing. And you're a robot, so I'm sure you're playing some pretty interesting games there. How's that sound?
Always. Yeah, sounds good. Let's get into it.
Awesome. Let's see. We've got game teasers. Put that up there. All right, Morphbot. Very excited. The first gameplay teaser that I've got for you. We got some gameplay from Earth from Another Sun. Have you heard about this game?
No, first time, first time. Looks like
Okay.
Borderlands right off the bat.
Yeah. So, Earth from Another Sun making a lot of noise. They had their mint this week. It sold out in like 17 minutes. So, let's take a look at
Or
some
they
of this
can
gameplay
create,
here.
arcane orbs. They can create illusions of themselves. They can create, poison pools on the floor, and so on and so
I
forth.
guess I should first shout out. This is from reformist.tm. Whole bunch of subscribers on this channel. So shout out to them. Thank you for the gameplay.
And this game has a similar system, because the last time I fought this guy, he had the illusionist trait, which allowed him to literally, summon clones of himself.
So I like this. It
And
looks pretty cool. There's another
never
part
got the
where
hit.
I
There
mean
we
it's
go.
it's a
And that's it.
space game, so you can jump around it. Oh, nah, I've got the ads. Here, let me turn the volume down on that, and we'll get through this ad. First impression of that trailer, Morph. What'd you think? Not
I
trailer,
like
but
it.
gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Borderlands guy.
Okay.
I love like this kind of like space theme too. I like that it looks like they're bringing in some of that kind of like Path of Exile, like enemy traits and randomization, which is super cool. Yeah, I think for like a Web3 game, it's actually starting to look like a real game that people want to play.
Yeah. I've heard some AMAs with the founders and the devs. They're doing some really interesting things. I think that this early access footage looks really cool. They've got like this space pirate option as well. It looks like there's just like a lot of different aspects of the game. Um, so I'm excited to see what they come up with. I know that they had a highly anticipated mint, and I think that they were trending #1 on Fractal. And I know Justin Kahn. We're actually going to look at that later. There's a video from Justin Kahn, the founder of Twitch, and founder of Fractal, was pretty excited and bullish on the game as well. So I'm excited. I'm a kind of person, Morph, that I need to see gameplay footage to get excited about a game. I say that every week. And yeah, once I saw this, I was like, okay, they got something here. I'm intrigued.
This is nice. Yeah, I want to see. more about the mechanics for sure. I mean, I think that like games like this, it's really important that you have some kind of like permeability and persistence. So whether that's like your character level and you power up over the more you play, or things like that just kind of help give things like a bit more value, like long term.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. Well, the next trailer that I've got for you, play Meta Ops. Have you heard about Meta Ops?
Oh, it looks like Call of Duty though. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, it's kind of got like CSGO vibes.
Yeah, this is my kind of stuff. This looks good.
First person shooter.
Hey, got the knife. Let's go. Okay, yeah, this looks fun.
I've seen Bryson play this, and a couple different people have some gameplay footage from it. I haven't tried it yet. Definitely, they do make a lot of noise. I do think that they've got a tournament coming up on the Horizon section. So wanted to share some footage from them. Looks super smooth, and I definitely want to try that out.
Awesome. Yeah, no, FPS is that genre, right? Like, we only need one good FPS game. And,
yeah.
It's not here yet, so I'm excited to see which one takes that cake, and this is definitely going along the right path. So.
Yeah, and they've got a lot of partnerships. They do a lot of stuff in the space. So shout out to Play Meta Ops. Very interested in diving into your game and giving that a shot. Next one, we've got a little bit of an update from Guild of Guardians. Guild of Guardians is one of my more favorite mobile games that I'm watching and paying attention to. I really like their founder on Twitter, Derek Lau. I think that they just cover a lot of they have a very good understanding of what Web3 gaming should be, and hopefully they are building that into their game. So I'm excited to see the development of their game and where that goes. So have you looked at Guild Guardian at all, Morph?
I've seen it a bit. Yeah, I'm not a huge mobile gamer, so I kind of shy away from that stuff. I am excited because I know the space is huge, and I think that look, you have this a lot of phone, you have like MetaMask Mobile now. There's a lot of big room to have like actual Web3 games on your mobile device now. But I'm a PC gamer. Give me a mouse and keyboard. Give me some like 140 frames. Like that's what I'm all about. So super stoked for this kind of stuff for mobile gamers. Don't know if I'll jump in. We'll see.
I'm with you 100%. I'm a PC gamer as well, but just knowing and understanding how big the mobile market is, right, globally, I am bullish on mobile games. So it's just going to be a huge part of the pie. So let's look at this. I mean, the game looks good.
Yeah, it's nice. Getting some like League of Legends vibes for sure. Yeah, for me, I'm a big mechanics guy, right? Like if the mechanics are there that are interesting and there's some like depth and some complexity to how that's going to play in like a team play game, definitely exciting. I think it's like not all about the graphics though, right? Like even though these are like good enough, I think that you can like build a great game with very like low poly, simple graphics. So yeah, I don't think it needs to look too much better than this to be like considered good, but I'm definitely looking forward to like seeing how much complexity is there, right? Because right now I see 2 buttons and a joystick, and that's it.
I agree with you there. However, for mobile, like out of all the mobile games and trailers and footage that I've seen, I do think that this is the best one that I've seen. I do play Call of Duty Mobile. I play it on my iPad, but I know like on the phone it's just as good. So probably a little bit more dynamic than what we're looking at right here. But at the same time, I've enjoyed Call of Duty on the phone and on my iPad, and I think that these graphics look good for what it is. And if it's a game that can reach mass appeal and bring in, millions of users into NFTs and into crypto, hey, I'm on board.
Totally. Yeah, and we don't know what more classes or other things are going to add, right? So maybe there's some line complexity there that we're not seeing yet.
Totally. And shout out to Guild of Guardians too, just because they are dropping, like this just dropped yesterday or last night even. So they are dropping this. They've consistently been dropping gameplay trailers and teasers, hyping up the game. So I do appreciate that. Like too many times I see people tweeting away giveaways and whitelists and buy our NFT and stuff. Like, give me footage of the game. Like, if I can't play the game, give me footage of the game.
Totally.
And,
Yeah, and especially, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, especially during this bear market, right? I mean, look, if people are still building now, then they're probably going to be building for like the foreseeable future. I know a lot of people, once that bear market hit, you know, they kind of, a lot of the dev work kind of like got a bit more quiet, and we weren't seeing as much progress in a lot of places. So yeah, if they're still putting this stuff out regularly during the bear, I think that's a great sign.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, next Morph, I've got Afterlands. Afterland. This is another game, kind of like the Borderlands vibe.
Oh, this is the Borderlands one. Wow. Okay,
this is the Borderlands one. So this is was making some noise. I don't know much about it, but I know that Kagi played it. I know that Bryson has a video on it. I've got a clip here from Bulldog 1205. Shout out to Bulldog, another really awesome creator. So it looks like a fun game. I haven't played it, but I do want to jump in.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, this looks awesome. I mean, if this is like you know, MMO style, then super dope.
Yeah.
One of my big gripes with Borderlands was like, look, like max 4 players, and it's very like instant. So if this has more of an MMO vibe to it, and I can like team up with a bunch of my friends to go take down badass big monsters. Yeah, this looks great. And look at that style. That cell shaded style is just, it's classic, right?
Yeah, it's just a whole West vibe.
Okay.
It looks fun. I know that the early reviews have been pretty good. For everyone that's played it, has enjoyed it. One thing with all of these crypto games is that, you know, I don't know how the tokenomics are going to work. I don't know how they're going to integrate NFTs. We don't know how their back end is gonna work. So a lot of this stuff still needs to be researched and figured out. But just from the gameplay, like, it is exciting to draw us in. But there's still, you know, unfortunately with Web3 gaming, you know, the game, as important as a good, you know, fun game is, we do have the Web3 crypto blockchain element. So that is always going to be a question. So we're just looking at the trailers. We're not like endorsing or, you know, none of this is financial advice by any means, of course.
I think you make a great point there that, like, look, you know, a bad kind of like blockchain Web3 dynamics will break a good game, but it won't save a bad game. So it doesn't matter how like good your tokenomics are. It doesn't matter if people are gonna make tons of money. If the game sucks, the game sucks. So I'm glad that we're kind of coming at this like game first. Like, let's worry about like whether or not it's a good game first, and then we can kind of like reevaluate whether like the investment side and the economics are making sense, right? But yeah, until I see games like this that look, I actually want to play this, even if it doesn't have Web3 elements, then I'm not even interested in like looking at some of those games because they just look like absolutely low tier, right?
Guys, you heard it here first from an AI robot who knows everything. So, you know, he's calling it right. He's calling it right. You're gonna go against a robot. Good luck. Okay, next I've got a really cool update from Metalcore. Have you seen Metalcore at all?
No, yeah, it's a mech game.
This is probably the top in my top 3 games that I am excited about. Again, not a shill, not paid for any of this. I really like the trailers that I've seen. And their open world alpha is launching this month, I do believe. So check out, we've looked at trailers in the past, but check out this latest clip that they shared.
Oh damn.
You can jump right into their mech.
Okay, this is sick.
That's kind of crazy. You know, if you're battling on the battlefield and then jumping into the mech, I mean, it just reminds me of like Call of Duty, like, you know, jumping into a tank or jumping into a helicopter, like this.
Oh yeah. And look, I can see you got like a infantry class down there. You got like abilities. You got, you know, a bunch of like different stats and stuff. So this is cool because this is like something that I feel like there's not really like an element of this in the traditional gaming space, right? It's kind of like Overwatch meets Call of Duty meets like Battlefield. It's like this huge open world kind of like battle. And so I like that. You know, they're kind of like taking traditional games, putting a bit of a spin on them other than just Web3, right? Like, let's make some cool games. Let's like put some like actual decent, like interesting games out there and add some gameplay spins. Like Web3 is not a spin on its own, right? It's just a way to control the economy and like give it some security and some backup. That's not a spin. Give me some gameplay spins. This looks great. I love it.
Yeah. As you can see, you see now why this is one of my most excited games I'm excited for. So
I think I'll be jumping into alpha this one with you. That looks like a good time.
And the other big thing for me, beyond just this, I want to hear from the team. I want to know who the team is. I want to be able to feel like I can trust the team, and it's not just like a cash grab or I'm going to get rugged or anything. We are going to talk about some rugs later on more. If I know we've got some interesting convo there. But I've listened to some of the AMAs with the team, and they're real people. They've got the background, the experience, the talent, the skill, and they know what they're doing. So that's the other big thing that makes me bullish on this game.
That's great.
All right, you little metaverse robot. We got some. I got a little trailer from Zoo Racers. I don't know anything about Zoo Racers. I don't even know how I found this trailer. If it just came up on Twitter, or if I might have like heard of it from maybe like a DAP Radar article or whatnot. But it looks fun. So I wanted to include it on the show this week. We got Zoo Racers. A little bit of the Mario Kart vibes. Well, like you said, Morph, maybe a little bit of a spin on it. A little bit of a spin here. Yeah. What were you saying, Morph?
Yeah, I like this. I like this a lot. Again, mobile games. I'm not sure if it's going to be up my alley. But like you say, I love how they're taking that classic game mode of Super Mario, Mario Kart, like the battle system, and just adding more. Like give us something extra, give us something different. This looks great. I'm curious if it has like actual racing, because racing a track with those weapons looks like hella fun. But yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm a big CTR and Mario Kart guy from way back, so give me one of these that's multiplayer and I'll jump on it all day. That looks awesome.
Absolutely. I know there is some stuff like this going on in Decentraland. I don't know the current status of it, but shout out to Zoo Ecosystem and Zoo Racers. Like I said, I don't know anything about you guys, but my metric is I always want to see, trailers, gameplay footage. My first introduction to Zoo Racers was this trailer, so we're off to a good start. First impressions look good, and I'm going to keep my eye out on Zoo Racers. All right, next Morph, we've got something from Cypher Odyssey. I actually have this TikTok review, so
introducing Cypher Odyssey, a multiplayer looter-shooter action RPG with exciting roguelike mechanics. Explore a dreamlike universe of alien worlds, vibrant characters, and dangerous mysteries. In Cypher, you'll fight with numerous enemies and bosses to clear endless dungeons and level up your power and skill. There are currently 3 playable characters to choose from, the Inu, Neku, and Buru, each with their own unique skills, which we'll dive into in a future video. So gather your squad, choose your weapons, and get ready to raid constantly evolving dungeons that will require...
So, I shared this Morph because I've heard about Cypher. It does make a little bit of noise. I do have an article on Cypher later on in the show. So I've been curious about what Cypher is going to be. They said a lot here. My first impression of the game is I couldn't tell if this was mobile or not. If this were on mobile, I'm on board. It looks good for mobile. Kind of gives me that Guild of Guardians vibe. But the articles and everything that I could find didn't specify that this was mobile. And I got the sense that maybe this is, I don't know, PC or something like that. And if that's the case, I'm not as impressed because I would have wanted something a little bit more, AAA quality feel.
Yeah. I mean, this is a perfect example, right? Of like, it's not that this is maybe a bad game or even that there's anything necessarily wrong with it. But look, like if you could pay $300 for an NFT that lets you play this game, or you could go play like Diablo 3 for like $10.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do, right? Like, is this really worth like a bunch of extra money and even just spending the gas to like get the NFT? And when there's other games that already do this. So yeah, I think like I really want to see something like different other than just it being a Web3 game. And I don't know if this ticks that box, at least not yet.
I'm with you there. I do know that their alpha is coming soon. So, like I said, the project made a lot of noise. I think that they've got, you know, some big funding, some big backers and maybe advisors. So it is on my radar and my watch list, but it's not high up on my watch list. I'll be honest. And, you know, my first impression of the gameplay, like I said, if it's mobile, okay, I'm on board because mobile can, you know, try to reach millions and millions of players. But if it's PC, I'm less excited. Okay, Morph. Our last and final gameplay trailer. I saw this one, I think, from Kagi. So this is No Way Back, and I guess they had their first public tournament. I don't know much about the game, but I saw the trailer and wanted to enjoy it. It looked cool.
Getting Fortnite vibes.
Yeah. Very Fortnite vibes.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Same animation, everything. They got the emotes, they got the floss emote.
Very fun, very like aiming kids.
Yeah, I mean,
like
again,
that.
Definitely doesn't look bad, right? It actually looks a bit more like busy. Like there's a lot more going on, just in like the environment details and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I think when it comes to games like this, like I'm assuming it's a battle royale.
Yeah.
There really is only room for like one, maybe two, right?
Yeah.
And we got right now like Fortnite and obviously Apex Legends are probably the two big ones. You know, a lot of the other stuff like Battlegrounds and all that, those have kind of died down a bit, right? So yeah, I think again, super excited. If this is going to be like a AAA quality game, then I think maybe it's not going to beat Fortnite, but it is going to like kind of light a fire under their ass to like get into this space. Because look, if there's a clone that's getting popular that is the exact same as your game, and you're a multi-billion-dollar company, you're probably gonna start asking yourself like, hey, should we be like doing NFTs? Should we be turning all our Fortnite skins into, you know, NFTs that people can sell and trade? Probably, right?
Yeah, I do like that. I do like that. And I mean, I'm sure we'll get to the point where, you know, if that were to happen, maybe they go like the Facebook route, right? And just acquire them. Like, all right, we'll buy your game, maybe develop it under like our you know, blockchain, you know, NFT arm. So it's like we don't taint our, you know, it's like a testing playground for them. So that could be, you know, good for a game studio, game developers as well to, you know, build something, you know, prove the concept, and then maybe get acquired by one of the big dogs.
Totally. And that, I mean, when they get acquired, all those employees are going to go work for them, right? So that's a great way to get like NFT and Web3 minded people into these traditional companies at a large scale.
Totally agree. And just a quick shout out to Kagi here, guys. I mean, the man is down in the trenches trying out all of the games that you've never heard of, games that you might never hear of. But the man puts in the work. He grinds. He digs deep to find gems, and you know, one of these, you know, could turn into a big gem. So shout out to him for putting in the work and finding all these games. Okay, Morph, that is gonna do it for the game teasers. We'll take that off. Overall thoughts, any macro opinions on the game teasers? Are you liking what you're seeing? There's some new stuff there. What do you know, what are your AI senses tingling?
I mean, look, we can see the improvement in quality versus what we were seeing like a year ago. You know, we're starting to see real games, like actual game engines and multiplayer that's coming out. It's not just white papers and tokens now, which is I'm super stoked about. Again, if this is the stuff they're putting out in the bear market, you know, that looks really good. It shows they're not just doing it for the money. Like, let's do this to actually make a good game and to build like some staying power. You know, if you want your game to survive till the next bull market, that might be a year, 2 years away, right? And so these companies need to have a plan for how they're going to develop in that time and keep interest and build a user base. And then when that next bull market comes, maybe that's when they can, you know, make a lot of their money and actually get the worth out. But that's, yeah, super cool to see that there's so many projects going on still, and people seem to be putting in the work.
I totally agree with you. I've had this phrase in my head, building for the bull market. And I really feel like that's like the theme of the bear market. Like, take a positive spin on the bear market. It's like we're building for the bull market. And that's why I enjoy this show and being in this space, because we get to see these games be developed, you know, before they launch. Like, one of these games is gonna go viral, go mainstream one day. We don't know when that's gonna happen, but we do know that at some point it will happen. And we're gonna, you know, we were there on day one. You know, looking at these games, seeing the trailers, following the developments, following the team, and that's just going to be a really, really cool experience. So yeah, I completely agree with you. This is the time to build your watch list and pay attention to the games that are here for real, and they're not just a money grab. The games that are doing it right. That's why I shouted out Guild of Guardians. You know, constant updates, constant trailers and teasers, and engaging with the community, building a real team, building a real company. And to your point, that's how you know they're going to build a real game and be here for the long term.
Totally.
Cool. So next we have got game updates. We've got a few updates here, guys. Not like I said, not a huge week in Web3 gaming news. But the first one that I wanted to share was we did have the Earth from Another Sun NFT mint. It was their companion mint, and apparently it sold out in 17 minutes. I'm a little bit bummed about this because I think that I had whitelist access, and a lot of us were excited about it and completely, I don't know, I completely spaced out, missed the mint. I know a bunch of my friends also missed the mint, so we missed out on the free mint, unfortunately. And I think they're going for 1.2, 1.3 Sol. So, you know, 40, 50 bucks, somewhere in that range, which isn't bad if you want to get into the game. You know, definitely check that out because the game, we looked at the trailer, Morph approved. He said it was, you know, the quality he was looking for. So congratulations to them for their mint. And I just wanted to share this video again from Justin Kan. I didn't know that, and, you know, shame on me for not being aware, but I didn't know that Justin Kan founded Fractal. And I've been learning more about Fractal, and I'm really impressed with what I see so far. So if Earth from Another Sun has the stamp of approval from Justin Kan, I mean, that's
first collection.
That means something.
The companion NFT. So EFAS.
But maybe he's just shilling his bags. I don't know.
No, I think we should talk about this because I mean I think people can understand Justin's an OG, right? Justin, yes. I mean he made Twitch because there was not really a place to do live streaming, and he just went and built his own website to stream himself, and that was just. To have a builder who is also a content creator who has the talent to kind of put that stuff together and then grow it into, you know, $1 billion business. This guy knows what he's doing, and he's very well off. He doesn't need the money. I'm sure he's not needing to shill to make a living, and he's super technically minded. So I think if this guy is putting his name behind something, you can be sure that at least from a technical perspective, it's probably pretty airtight and solid. And whether it's a winner in the economics, let's see.
Yeah, really good points there. I completely agree. I was just saying that tongue in cheek, you know. But yeah, Earth from Another Sun was #1 trending on Fractal, which is not an easy thing to do. So shout out to them. And Fractal is a really interesting platform, guys. I'm a little disappointed in myself that I didn't know more about it or know more sooner. But it seems to be like a hub for all things Web3 gaming. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be paying more attention to that. We've got some more Fractal content later on in the show. But yeah, shout out to Earth from Another Sun. Huge success minting out their companion NFTs. I do love the free mints. Here's one thing, Morph. I was upset that the mint happened so fast, and that, you know, shout out to them for giving a free mint, but at the same time, I don't want to jump through hoops, man. I don't want to jump through hoops to play your game. I know that it's early access. It's, you know, you're in alpha, beta, all that stuff, but I just want to play the game. Let me play the game. Why do I gotta, you know, from a UI UX experience, onboarding, it's not the easiest, smoothest, and that I think can hurt them.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I do think that this is an unsolved problem. You know, as a robot, I'm never sure if I'm talking to 1,000 other robots or just one robot that has 1,000 interfaces, right? So there's no way for me to verify that all these people buying NFTs are real people, and that they're gonna not just dump them on the open market, or even worse, maybe they just lose them and become deactive, and then you have a bunch of your NFTs that just never get to play the game, right? So I think there is something to be said for either free mints that, you know, they happen so quickly, they really only go to the community that's there and present.
Yeah.
And then there is also something to be said for, you know, charging the right price to make sure that you're not going to get flippers and you're not going to get people just buying up the whole supply. There's other ways to do it, I think. You know, maybe like, you know, Satoshi invented proof of work. That's a pretty good way to like prove an identity locally. So maybe you could do a mint like Mooncats where, you know, everyone has to do a little proof of work on their computer and then kind of buy it out. But there's nothing stopping someone from renting, you know, $1 million worth of Amazon hardware and buying out that whole mint, right? So there's no, again, it's an unsolved problem. I think no matter how you do, no matter how you do your mint, you're gonna burn some people and you're gonna make some other people wealthy. But that's just the name of the game. And I think what's more important is like, hey, if it's still pretty cheap to get in now and you think it's a great game and it's worth it, then you can always buy it off the secondary. You know, you're not doing yourself a disservice to pay for a game that you actually want to play.
I completely agree with that. Well said. The other way I think about it, it is great marketing. You know, it's a great marketing. It creates that demand. It creates that hype. It creates that FOMO. So I understand it from that point of view. But and we're in the early stages, right? We're in inning 1 of Web3 gaming. But I hope for the future, you know, when these games are more built out and they're launched, you just, to have mass appeal, you can't have hurdles for people to get in the game. Like, I'm a gamer. I want to play the game. Can I go play your game? Like, you know, why do I gotta, you know,
at least give me like a free trial, right? And make the free trial maybe like temporary. So like when I log out, like my progress is wiped. And then if you have the NFT, maybe that's your way to like save your progress in between games or something. But yeah, definitely having that free element is going to be super important. Because how are you gonna grow if people have to spend $300 just to try your game out?
Absolutely. No, good stuff there. I also, I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I liked your point about, you know, Satoshi and proof of work and stuff like that. That's one of the ways that I've thought of Web3 gaming rewarding, you know, early adopters and early users. You know, not like a play to earn concept, but like you should get rewarded for your time investment. If I'm going to log into your game, you know, be one of your daily active users, if I'm going to grind, you know, your challenges, your missions or whatever in the beginning, like, I should be rewarded with an NFT through there. So some kind of aspect like that. And maybe that's how you can work toward your proof of work. It could be like an NFT that can turn into early access. Cause you bring up a good point about like, you know, if bots are just going to mint out the whole supply, there's all sorts of issues and stuff like that. So yeah, interesting time to be in it. Pros and cons. All right, Morph. Next update I've got here. I wanted to shout out Elixir Games. Just again, we talked about these projects that are just nonstop shipping, nonstop doing it right, and Elixir Games just has not missed. So many partnerships, so many games being launched on their launcher. They really are establishing themselves as the Steam or the Epic Games Store. Like, you know, they've got a great launcher, they've got a bunch of great games, and they're partnering with almost everybody in the space. So this was just one. You know, they partnered with Fractal to enable a seamless onboarding experience, so you can download select games from Fractal using their platform, and you know, a lot of collaboration, a lot of building.
Let's dive into this because I think that, you know, this is something that we don't have yet at least a large scale that's going to be like game changing. And that's not just because, you know, it's going to be the new Steam, which obviously that's a huge business and that's great. But more importantly, what these platforms do is they give you a centralized location where games connect to. And that's going to let that centralized entity do things like define connectivity standards. It's going to define interoperability standards. It's going to define, like, here's how you connect to our network. If you want to put your game on our platform, like, it needs to adhere to these things. And that's going to open up a whole new world where, you know, these games can become more interoperable because there's someone coordinating them from a higher level. It's not just the game designers themselves, like deciding what platform and what style and what interoperable, you know, states they want to use. So I'm super excited for that. Like, if you have a marketplace and, you you know, it's like the Elixir marketplace where they sell avatars or items and wearables, and it's all interoperable with every game they have, or maybe not every game, but it's an opt-in. You know, if you put your game on a platform, you can opt into that marketplace and make use of all those 3D wearables and avatars and things. I think that's where this is going to go, right? And that's going to be a huge piece of the metaverse, like kind of coming into its own and providing us something that is actually more than what Steam provides. You know, it's going to give us like a free open marketplace that is interoperable in different games, and other people can connect to that in like an open source fashion. You know, and that's what's going to be really exciting here. So I'm super stoked to see that there's some game launches coming out. I'm super stoked to see they're partnering with not just their own teams but other ones, and they're kind of bringing the space into like a central location that we can figure this stuff out.
Again, hard to disagree with an AI robot that knows all. I completely agree, Morph. I more or less made a similar point last week. You know, we are in Web3. Web3, the values and ethos of Web3 are open, transparency, you know, freedom, non-censorship. It's about collaboration. It's about supporting. It's about abundance. There's enough for everybody. It's, you know, we're all gonna make it. Not to be like cliche and corny, but, you know, these are the principles that a lot of Web3 were founded on. And I do love to see the projects that are building really embrace and embody those values. And yeah, there's so many projects that are doing it right, collaborating with each other, supporting each other, because we're still a very small industry. One, I mean, it makes sense from a business standpoint, right? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. But to your point, on a technical level, on a software, on a code level, building in that interoperability is just, it's one, beautiful to see, and yeah, it is the future. I completely agree with that. Cool. So shout out to Elixir, shout out to Fractal, doing it right. A little bit of a game update. I did tease this earlier. Cypher just had this article released on Ancient 8, which is a really nice research website, a Web3 gaming content media hub that I respect. I believe they're out of Vietnam, so shout out to them. And they put out a lot of good analysis and research. So I did want to share this because Cypher, this has an overview of the Cypher game that we looked at a little bit earlier. And it talks about their alpha coming soon. So that seems like an update worthy of sharing. Yeah. Oh, right here. If you're interested in this, guys, you can register for the upcoming playtest. So alpha coming soon. Whether or not what that means, not financial advice, I don't know, but worthy to share. Next, Morph, I wanted to share Illuvium released their version 2.1 or 0.21. Sorry, your robot. I respect your AI. I do not want to
confusing me, sir.
yeah. I don't want to bug you out here. So they released their patch notes. So Illuvium is currently in their private beta 2, where I think their arena is available. I did see some people getting access and playing. I have not had a chance to play yet. I'm dying to play the game. I'm dying to check it out. But shout out to Illuvium. Again, Morph, projects that are, developing, building, coding, and then publishing their results, publishing their updates. I mean, this is not like just one update that Illuvium posts on Medium. They're constantly posting updates to their game. So shout out to them. They're one of the biggest projects in the space. I'm not going to go over their patch notes because a lot of it's, technical, nerdy, maybe not the most relevant or interesting things there, but it is out if that is your thing and you're curious. Morph, I want to get your overall thoughts on Illuvium. Is it something that you're paying attention to? What do you think of the game?
Yeah. I think at this point they're too big to ignore, right? I mean, their market cap is huge. I mean, everyone's probably heard about them. I think it's worth checking out. I think Illuvium is a good example of a company that grew in the bull market, and I think they've maybe kind of outgrown what they actually are, right? And that's kind of what happens is if you launch in the bull market, you get these insane valuations. Your product gets tons of attention, everything goes up. And then the bear market hits, and all of a sudden, you know, like you have this massive valuation you have to explain.
Yeah,
And so,
justify.
yeah, so like, you know, I'm excited. It is definitely AAA. You know, I'm not saying they don't deserve that valuation, but I think they do have a lot to prove. And I think that's going to be, you know, when they release these kind of like final, more polished betas, we're going to get to see like, is that a justified market cap, or is it just completely out of whack?
Great points, Morph. Absolutely fantastic points. Yeah, you know, you said it all right there. I would only add, I feel the same way. They're too big to ignore, but I'm also a little I'm not skeptical, but I'm as I am with like most crypto games and you know the space right now. I'm like, I'm in a show me state. Like, don't tell me, show me. And they do a lot of telling. They do a lot of talking. You know, shout out to the founder. We do actually have. I thought I had. Wait. Oh, I had actually a trailer from them. Let me find that because there was a little clip that I did want to share from Illuvium. I can't believe I missed it. There it is. I'll pull this up in a second. Actually, I'll pull it up now. You know, they do a lot of big talking. They do a lot of big talking, as they probably should, but we got to see you back it up. We got to see you back it up. But on that note, Morph, they did share this. This is check out the name tag. You're in my world now. Okay, so again, he's talking. He's coming with, you know, Kieran is spicy. He is spicy, but this was a really cool update that I wanted to share. So, I mean, the graphics do look good. So this is like, they've got a lot of different aspects of their game, right? Where a part of it is like an auto battler. Then there is an open world. There is like also a farming, like a Farmville game aspect where you're farming resources and fuel that you then use to go into the open world where you can capture alluvials. And then you can capture those alluvials in the open world and then bring them to the auto battler and, you know, have them fight. So I think that this is a demo of their auto battler, or maybe the trailer, because I don't think that the auto battler actually looks this good.
Yeah, so this is giving me like heavy Ethermon vibes, right? And I know that Ethermon is not visually stunning, but it's very like the battle concept is very basic, right? You just have abilities and stats, and you know, we've done this since the 90s with Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
Like it's great. It's nice that you've thrown like a cool 3D models on top with like abilities and things. Is the game gonna be fun?
Yeah.
Maybe. I would really like to see like if they made this in VR and it was more like a Yu-Gi-Oh style duel or something. You know, like that sounds more fun to me, right? Like these kind of like just click the attacks and then you at least you get a nice animation with it. But hey, maybe honestly I'd rather go play like Pokemon with my friends.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, like we talked about, right? This is a very ambitious project. I've heard them talk about combining all of those different game modes and game styles where you have an auto battler, an open world, a farming kind of game. To your point, is it going to be fun? Is that going to be enough? I've heard Kieran, the founder, talk like it is fun because you have all these different game modes, and they claim that it is balanced and it is all interoperable, you know, from game mode to game mode. So there are these circular loops that do drive that fun, addicting game play. But I haven't had access, so I don't know yet. I don't know. You know, they are trying to bring, again, their tagline or their claim is, we're trying to bring, you know, your favorite games from a child all into one game. From, you know, Mario Party to Pokemon. The game is kind of all developed around that Pokemon idea. There's 150 alluvials. They even look like Pokemon, right? They look like huge.
A little bit, yeah.
You know,
I will say, like, if the overworld is really good, you know, if the overworld is the main point of the game and the overworld is very like MMO-esque, then I think there's definitely some potential here.
Yep.
If it's like the overworld is more of just like a fun place to walk around with your mons, and there's not a lot going on, then I think that's kind of like a half-cooked idea to have 3 different games that are, you know, maybe like not as good as other things that do the same. I'm like, you know, if I want to play an MMO right now, I'd probably just go play like World of Warcraft or you know, one of those ones. But if this can beat that in quality in terms of the overworld, then that's something I'm interested in for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. So shout out to Illuvium. Like Morph said, they're too big to ignore. That's why we one of the reasons why we try to cover them and share content around them. All right, next update. This could have gone in news, but it is around gaming, so I did want to include it under the updates. Cool Cats, one of the biggest NFT projects out there, secured strategic investment from Animoca Brands. Animoca Brands is, the biggest funding, firm out there, funding a lot of Web3 gaming. They've got their hands in all sorts of Web3 gaming projects. So shout out to them bringing the big money in. And Cool Cats is taking investment from them and going to be working with them to build out not only their NFT brand, but a lot of their gaming. Whatever they're going to end up trying to do or launch with a game. Let me see if I can find the quote here more. We will unlock the next frontier of gaming. I'm kind of torn on this. I'm a little torn on this because it feels like it's kind of the hold on. Here's a quote. The combination of Cool Cats and Animoca Brands will enable both companies to deliver unique and compelling gaming experiences to their respective communities and the broader gaming audience. I kind of think of this like Yuga Labs, right? Super successful NFT project, all the money in the world, and then they're like, okay, now what? And then it seemed like everyone was like, well, we're going to launch a game and we're going to launch a metaverse and we're going to launch a TV show and we're going to launch like stuffed animals and, we're just going to continue delivering value to the NFT holders, which you said it earlier, like you have to justify these valuations. So it is going to be the test to see whether or not these projects or companies can continue to build and create value, something that's long lasting. So I do think it's a good sign that Cool Cats is partnering and taking investment from Animoca because, there's probably no one better. They're going to have access and networked in with all the gaming, everyone in their gaming, in the gaming space. But, what are they going to build? Yeah. Is it going to be a good game? How are they going to do it? Is it just for them to integrate their NFTs? Like, there's a lot here.
I mean, I'm a little skeptical here, and I'll tell you why. And that's like, look, first things first, it's a strategic partnership because they want to get the Cool Cats people to spend money on Animoca brand stuff, and vice versa. They want Animoca brands like from other games to kind of like look at Cool Cats as if it's a part of the system and maybe even buy one. Great. I don't think that this is like groundbreaking. I don't think this is like, maybe this is a little controversial, but I don't really think that like the profile picture projects have any real staying power. And I don't think that they're worth like forming an entire brand around for your video game. Like, it's not going to make or break the game because everyone looks the same and has like a cat that has slightly different accessories, right? Like it's great. You're building like a brand around it. But would this just be better if they just kind of had a creative team and came up with their own concepts and built their own kind of like game that is a similar style with just their own characters? I don't know. I haven't really seen any like individuality from the Cool Cats. Like, I know Andrew Wang has that one that's like upside down, and that was like a 1-of-1. And so like, cool, like that's a great like iconic
so
one,
innovative.
But, I mean, at least it like. Yeah, at least it sticks out though, right? Like, I mean, you got 9,000 other ones that they look pretty similar. And I feel this way about every profile picture project. I'm a bit of a bear on them. I think like stuff like Punks is great because it's historical, and I think Yuga Labs buying Punks was a true strategic partnership because they kind of used that to give themselves more legitimacy in a way as well. But here, Animoca Brands is already big. They have a lot of games out already that I haven't heard of or I haven't even really like been interested in because like
if you're not paying attention to Benji Bananas.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, I don't know, right? And like I'm looking at their kind of like portfolio here, and I see like Rev Racing, like a drift game. There's some kind of like random mobile games, and look, like maybe they're great games, but they're not anything I've heard about in the space, and I don't really see it being like a shoo-in that this is going to be good, right? They have a lot to prove still, so let's see.
I'm with you. I am with you. Yeah, Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they go. Yeah, I think that I don't have anything else to add. I got nothing else to add. So with that, that is going to close out the game updates. That's all we got for updates around the games. Guys, if we missed something, let me know down in the comments below. I'll be sure to cover it next week. There's a lot happening in the gaming space, so it's hard to get everything. Also, you know, if we covered everything, this would be a 6-hour show. So having said that, let's move on to some industry news. We got a couple of interesting takes here. The first one that I want to jump into, Morph, is Mythical Games. Mythical Games, the creators of Blanco's Block Party, which is arguably one of the premier best Web3 games on the market right now. They just got added to the Epic Games Store. They were the first Web3 game to be added to the Epic Games Store, so that was massive, right? They're launching a DAO and a token. You know, they aim to, you know, aid in the democratization of Web3 gaming. They want to, you know, create and set the standard for decentralized governance of a Web3 game. So they've launched their Mythos Foundation, that is their DAO, and they have a governance token coming out, which is their Myth token. I did a little bit of a deep dive on this. Well, I'm not going to go into everything here, but my question for you, more for one, you know, what do you think about this? But two, I'm actually kind of torn on this as well, in the same sense of like, is this the right strategy to launch a token, or is it a misstep? You know, are they going to get into too much speculation? Do we need a token? I'm not sure. I'm very torn on this. But I think it's a huge move for a game of this size and this prominence to say, hey, we are Web3. We're going to decentralize our governance. We're going to have a DAO, and we're going to have a token that governs that DAO. What do you think about this, Morph? What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really important question to ask, right? Like whenever these kind of things come up, it's like, look, this is already a successful company.
Yeah.
They've built a game that's doing well. Why do they need a token? Why do they need decentralized governance models? If they're doing this because like they lack funding and they need it, then it's just like a traditional kind of like stock, like early startup purchase, right? You're just kind of investing in something that you think has potential. And then, you know, this is just like an easy revenue and access way for them to do that without actually going public. So I think that there's like some legitimate use cases here for doing this. However, and I think, you know, this is like pretty true for the whole space. I think of that quote that Ford said, where it's like, if I asked the people what they wanted, they would have said a faster horse.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just so true that like we're trying to build something new that hasn't been built before. And so if you just ask the people what they want, like en masse, the large general population is not going to know what they want.
Yeah.
And so, you know, maybe if you're an investor and you're like obviously more committed to the ideas and you're putting your own like money and stake in, then maybe you might have a bit more of like an educated opinion on it, and you might be like providing some helpful input. But I think a lot of the times, I think DAO governance models are just adding more like complexity and more like convolution to the actual decisions you want to make. So yeah, not necessarily inherently bad, but I don't think it's going to be super helpful in the long term. I would rather see them like build out, if this is to build out more games, I'd rather see them build the games first. And if this is to improve Blancos, then like, I don't know, do you really need it? Like, I feel like Blancos is coming along nicely. Like maybe you guys should just really focus on it as a company.
Yeah, I did a big deep dive on this on my daily live stream. Web3 Gaming News and Markets, live at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shameless plug. No. So I did a deep dive on it, right? I think that my general thesis right now for a lot of these games is like, we just need a great game with NFTs. Like, just give me ownership of my asset, and I don't want it to be like a pay to win asset. It doesn't need to be a utility NFT. Cosmetics are fine, in my opinion, the way that Big Time is doing it. And to your point, yeah, I don't know if we need these tokens. To your point, it can be a great way to raise funds, but it also could be a cash grab. And only time will tell which one it is. And decentralized governance is hard. We've seen many examples of DAO leadership you know, it's long, it's cumbersome, it's slow, it's potentially inefficient. To your point, people want a faster horse, and it's like, me personally, I want the Steve Jobs to have a vision, to be a brilliant, you know, genius, and to, you know, build the future that I then get to benefit off of because I'm just a lowly pleb.
Totally.
So yeah, I'm not, and also I also think that decentralization in many instances is a meme, and we're going to get into that when we talk about the BSC hack. But if like oftentimes these governance tokens are hoarded at the top, so really the decision makers, it's much more centralized than it presents itself to be, and the decision makers get to, you know, push their way through anyways. I mean, we've seen that a little bit in ice poker, right? So controversial move, but nonetheless, I do fundamentally, at the end of the day, applaud all these projects in going out there and experimenting. I think a lot of this is an experiment in these concepts of decentralization and DAO governance and tokenomic structures that are designed to hopefully create more opportunity, give power back to the people, democratize these systems. So whether or not this is the way and this will work and this achieves those goals, it is a stepping stone and, you know, one of the like research projects that will help us get there. So I do, at the end of the day, think that this is good for the ecosystem overall. Whether or not it's good for Mythical Games and Blancos will remain to be seen.
Yeah, and look, the thing is, like, don't get me wrong. I love DAOs. I think DAOs are super cool. I think they're a big part of Web3 and they're important. But you know, I like to think of DAOs as like they're really just a forum for like the users of that platform, right? So if Mythical
Hold on,
Games,
Mark, the joke was the joke on Twitter was it's DAOs are just group chats with a bank account.
yeah, I mean, pretty much, right? But the thing is, like, if you look at like Mythos, I mean, who are their users? Their users are gamers, right?
Yeah.
As a gamer, do you want to be responsible for how much fun you're having in a game, or do you just want to play a good game, right? You just want to play a good game. If you're something like, you know, Elixir is a really good example of something that like makes more sense to have a DAO because their users are like actual companies, and those companies all have conflicting interests, and so, you know, like maybe a DAO governance model makes more sense when all your users are like large brands that have like differing values, right? Because you need a place to bring those brands together and to make a decision like decentrally. And even if at the end of the day that is just $1 vote, like if you can just buy votes, well, that's the person that's most involved in the ecosystem, and so maybe they should have the biggest voice, right? Yeah, let's see.
Yep, remains to be seen. All right, Morph, 2 or 3 more quick articles. We're gonna do a quick hit here. I always like to cover when big money gets raised and comes into the space. So blockchain game developer Horizon, the makers of Skyweaver, if anyone is familiar with Skyweaver, pretty big game right there. They raised $40 million this week in a Series A funding. This is to build out their game and their NFT marketplace. $40 million, more, nothing to sneeze at. Even an AI robot could do some things with $40 million. So, you know, I love to see big money coming into the space because that's only going to help the space grow, develop. So shout out to Horizon. Didn't want to have the show without mentioning them. Not going to spend too much time on it. Next, Morph.
Look at, before we jump on, look
yeah.
at those names too. Look at who they're bringing in, right? Ubisoft and Take-Two.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we want, right? We need to bring in these legacy brands that already have great ideas, already have great talent, and then they just, you know, I'm sure they're seeing the value of Web3, and that's why they're making these investments, and that's going to have a profound impact on their business as well. So yeah, super stoked to see this. All good news, especially during a bear market. Space is not dead. It's not dying. We're still going.
Absolutely. Ubisoft, pump my bags. Kidding. I don't have anything in Skyweaver. Next, Morph, real quick hit. Warner Music Group, WMG, you know, responsible for all the music that we listen to, continues its Web3 expansion with new Metaverse job posting. So they had a job posting go up for a senior director for Metaverse development. Again, we love to see, as you said, these big corporations, these legacy brands and companies investing seeing the opportunity, seeing that, acknowledging the space, seeing that they, you know, have to take this seriously. There's something here, something's going on, and knowing where the ball is going, where the hockey puck is going, and putting investment in there, putting resources, time, energy. So yeah, music NFTs, entertainment NFTs. What's going on here?
I'm a little nervous
Ooh.
for this stuff because, you know, I do love it. I think it's really great that these big companies are bringing in like actual leads to run the stuff.
Yeah.
But I've been a part of some of these interview processes for other
Right.
roles, you know, not metaverse roles at like big legacy tech companies,
Yeah.
and they're very old school.
Yeah.
They're very like in their ways. It's very hard to like shake things up and do something different. Even if it's a new industry like the metaverse, you know, they're going to be looking for someone to compete with Meta. They're going to be looking for someone who understands what Meta's doing and wants to do the same thing but better. But we all know like Meta's not a metaverse, and it's not even remotely Web3. So like, are they going to hire the right person? Is the job listing even accurate for like what the job should be? You know, let's get someone in there who's like a hacker, who's like anon and has open source like history, that tons of development experience, but you know, they actually live in the metaverse. Like if they hire someone like that, then hell yeah, this is like a massive win. If they go and hire like your typical like 60-year-old executive from New York, and he's like played his favorite video game is, you know, Super Mario Brothers 2, and it isn't he is like
Pac-Man.
no,
Pac-Man.
just hell no.
Pac-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just not gonna happen, right? So let's see who they hire. If it's like a real like actual metaverse person, then this is probably the best news of the whole day. If it's not, then it's probably the worst news of the whole day.
Hot takes. I like it, Morph. I like it. My general, I agree with you, right? Like, we had Ryan Wyatt, who was, you know, head of gaming at YouTube, leave YouTube to join Polygon to lead, you know, head of gaming over there, Polygon Studios. Huge talent acquisition, and Polygon has done nothing but hit it out of the park the past year. They're really, you know, company of the year contender, in my opinion.
Agreed.
So yeah, are they going to hire the right person? Is this going to be, you know, for real or not? Remains to be seen. But I think that these are the first, you know, again, stepping stones. These are the first, you know, dominoes to fall, right? It's like, you know, oh, we gotta hire somebody, and whether or not they are the right person, it only is going to lead down the path to either the right person or just, again, more attention, more people coming into the space. So I'm overall bullish. I love to see this stuff because we're just going to see this wave of talent and money from Web 2 and legacy come into Web 3. And that just can't be bad in the long term. In the short term, I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, let's see, right? Like, even if they hire like a bad person, and maybe maybe their entire like execution strategy fails and it's not even a real metaverse, maybe that's a good learning experience for them. And I hope that doesn't like burn them so bad they just leave the space. But you know, maybe like failing on their first try is actually going to be good, and it's going to help them learn some stuff and grow as a company and actually build something better. So yeah,
I mean, like, I don't think anything makes your point better than, like, you know, the role was posted to LinkedIn and it's like, you know, like that's just very Web 2. And that's, I mean, that's probably the standard, right? You said that's how these corporations operate and work, and that's normal. That's understandable. But like, this is Web 3, baby. Like, post that shit up on Twitter, you know?
Yeah. Like at least post them both, right? Like show me that you know about the space. Show me that you're putting this information in the right place, and then I'll believe your hair because you actually like understand it and want to build and add to it.
Put that shit on a tweet and tag Kobe. That's all you need.
Yeah. Give it some spelling errors. Like hell yeah, let's go.
That's all you need. So yeah, interesting stuff there. Last one, Morph. Last one. I've got this article. This is a last minute ad because I think that this is interesting. So this was an article earlier this week from Cointelegraph. Very sensational headline. The feds are coming for the metaverse. Dum dum dum. From Axie Infinity to Bored Apes. Oh shit, the feds are coming. But here's the thing. This is an opinion piece. This is an opinion piece right here from the author, He Win. So there was no actual news here once you read it. This is just his opinion that, hey, some of these metaverse projects, some of these NFT projects that are selling land, selling these NFTs, raising money for, you know, XYZ game development are actually at risk of, you're kind of selling securities, and you're not compliant with the SEC. You're not compliant with a lot of these regulatory boards. So you're opening yourself up to risk. And that caught my eye. Whether or not his opinion is right, I don't know. Is the SEC going to come for big time? You know, I don't know. Maybe they just find, you know, like they did with Kim Kardashian. Maybe they just find one person to, you know, give them a slap on the wrist just to set that precedent. But like then everyone else, like, you know, they don't pay attention to. But
yeah, I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
I don't think that he's like too off base here, right? Like I think first of all, like everyone should be scared of the Fed. They're terrifying. You know, if you've made money, pay your taxes. Make sure you do it because like it'll ruin your life. But with that said, you know, I think and I'm not a lawyer, so I think I'm going to stop by saying that. But I think from a legal standpoint, none of this is
like legal or financial advice, guys. I'm literally like I'm literally a pleb idiot gamer, and I'm talking to a robot. So, you know.
Yeah, I think he's technically correct. I think these are technically securities when you actually get down to it. However, like, what's the actual chance the SEC is going to come after these businesses? I think it's very low. You know, I think we've seen that the SEC does care about optics, and they're way more likely to go after like fraud or like someone like Kim Kardashian who's just straight up scamming people, as opposed to a video game that's selling an in-game asset. Because, you know, if you make the argument that these in-game assets are securities, that's not an argument you're making because they're on the blockchain. You're making that argument because they're selling them before the game's out, and therefore you're investing in something that hasn't come out yet. And that is a security. However, that's all game pre-orders. So like, are we going to like retroactively go back and be like, hey, all games made ever are now securities? Because that just seems like very silly, right? And it's just taking the concept of a security a bit too far. And I mean, I think it's political suicide. If the SEC actually started going after like gamers or game companies for this stuff, then yeah, they're just shooting themselves in the foot.
Completely agree with that. That's a good take. Moving on, in terms of this industry and hacks and securities and all that stuff like that, I know we wanted to talk about this Morph. So BNB chain halted after potential exploit drained estimated $100 million in crypto. So this was a big deal, guys. Not specifically related to Web3 gaming, but there are a lot of Web3 games being built on the Binance Smart Chain. Obviously, Binance is one of the biggest brands companies in all of the crypto space. So this was a big deal. Unfortunately, we hate to see when hacks happen. It's not good for the people that lose money. It's not good for the industry as a whole. It's not a good look for Binance. And they halted their chain. So I know you've got some opinions on this, Morph. What
Yeah, let's talk about this, because this is like a very big aspect of crypto that I think people kind of misjudge. So first of all, like decentralization is a scale, right? It's not like it's not decentralized or it is decentralized. It's a scale, and you can have, you know, a range of decentralization, and that's going to give you a range of after effects, you know, like things like security, speed, like network space. It's all a balance, and you're going to have to decide like what's the right amount of decentralization for any one project, and every project should have a different answer, because every project should require a different level of security. You know, I want my bank account to probably be fully decentralized and fully secure. I probably want my RuneScape account to like live on a server somewhere, and I can just pull that data when I'm playing the game.
Exactly.
Because if the game server goes down, like, where am I going to use that information anyway? Like, great, my information's stored on a blockchain, but the game's dead. Like, what am I going to do? So, you know, I think there's like a important metric here where like games can grow to be more decentralized. You know, maybe you have like decentralized nodes that people can run, and they put up a stake to like run those nodes. But at the end of the day, if you're playing a game, you're probably going to be very reliant on some kind of centralized entity. And so personally, you know, I would ask, like, if you're putting your game on BSC, why? Why not just have a game server and have NFTs on ETH or an ETH layer 2? You know, it's going to be more secure, more decentralized, and then your actual game data can just run on your local game server, which is going to be way more optimal for like actually playing games, and network speed and even security is much, much easier on like a traditional database than it is on these, you know, relatively centralized blockchains. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts there. I don't think BNB is a bad chain. I just think that it should be used for like Binance activities and connecting to Binance as like a central entity. I don't think people should be using it as their main chain to build platforms on.
Yeah. Yeah, because what do you do when they halt the chain, right? Like,
Yeah, and if someone controls the chain, might as well be you.
yeah, it's a little wild, a little wild. It's an interesting take, Morph. I don't know if I have an opinion on it just yet, because we know that a lot of games are built on Solana. We're seeing more games start to be built on Avalanche. Solana has historically had issues for going down, things like that. So I don't know what the right answer is there. I agree with you. I'm a big fan of Polygon. A lot of the games that I play, use Polygon. Some of the games that I play aren't even on chain yet, right? Blanco's big time. They're not really on chain yet. They do have goals to moving on chain. So we're still early in all of this technical infrastructure being figured out. And I think my macro thesis is like, to your point, build a great game. I don't need it totally decentralized, right? I just need the ownership of my assets, to be secure and, to be decentralized so that I truly do own them.
Yeah, and I have a anecdote here that I think is kind of important, because you can decentralize very specific things and get a lot of value out of it. So, for example, maybe the game itself is entirely centralized, but your login is just your ETH MetaMask. You just sign a transaction to log in, and that's great. I used to have a very valuable RuneScape account, like 5 figures, like a lot of money, and I got hacked because the customer service people basically did an account recovery because the hackers had some information of mine from 2007 when I was like a 12-year-old kid, and they had some very basic information about where I lived and my name and things, and they were able to recover that account because some guy that gets paid $10 an hour to do support requests didn't really give a shit. And so I'm really a big fan of decentralizing login identities, and look, if you lose your wallet, that sucks. You lose your account. But at least someone else can't break into the database and just give all your stuff away. And just at least it's in your control. At least you are the master of your own destiny. And so I think login, that's the number one place we should be decentralized. Give everyone's MetaMask, make that a universal login for everything, and away you go. It's just so much better.
I love that. It avoids the problem of social engineering, except or it reduces it to you being the only one that can.
Yeah, unless you get socially engineered.
I love that.
Just don't have friends. You'll be fine.
Cool. All right, guys, that's what we got for industry news this week. Those were the big headlines that popped out at us. As always, if there's anything that you feel that we missed, let us know down in the comments below. I'll be sure to give it a look, and if it's important enough, we can include it in next week's episode. Let's jump into what's on the horizon. Got a couple of quick hits here again, Morph. Just things that are coming up in the next week or over the next month that I think the community and the space should know about. So the first one that I got here, again, I was really impressed with Fractal. Fractal has a tournament section of all the tournaments that are coming up. So guys, if you're grinding these games, if you're interested in this, let me see, hold on, make sure. Okay, yeah. If you're interested in this, if you're a tournament player, you're into esports, you want to grind some of these, you think that you could win, you have a chance, you have an opportunity to win NFTs. In this one from MetaOps, shout out to MetaOps. We looked at some of their game footage earlier. You got some mods. Maybe that's their token because there's a $sign there. I don't know much about that. NFTs, whitelist opportunity. So this tournament is starting in 1 day and 21 hours. I even like how they do the countdown right here. Again, Fractal. I don't know. I guess I shouldn't expect anything less than from Justin Kahn. So, shout out to him again. But yeah, you got the tournament dates, you got the description. So that one is the one that's coming up the soonest. But also one of my other favorite games that I've been playing a lot of is EV.io. Morph, have you seen EV.io?
Bro, you're gonna have to get me into this. This looks sick. I've seen a little bit of gameplay on your stream, and it looks like a lot of fun.
It's so much fun. What I love about it the most is that you can just start playing within 10 seconds of going to the website. It's a browser-based game. You don't need a login. You don't need to connect your wallet. You don't need an NFT. You can have all those things, down the line. You can set all those up and, you know, have your accounts tied to everything. But for easy onboarding for new people, you can just play instantly under a guest account, and it's quick, it's fun, it's addictive. It's a great way to, you know, if you want to just play a game for 5 minutes without having to like load up the client and, you know, go through the whole, oh, there's an update. I got to update for the next 15 minutes. Like if you just want a quick hit in the middle of your day just to like, you know, take a quick break, EV.io, I've been having a ton of fun with. So yeah.
Wait, so just to clarify, this is entirely in browser. This is not like a downloadable game.
Entirely in browser. Yep.
That's awesome. Okay. Yeah. I'm super excited. I know browser technology is getting so much better when it comes to like WebGL and just all these things you can use, like even like WebM assembly now. Man, like RuneScape was very basic, but like that era of like having browser games where you could just play from anywhere, like at the school library, like that's so key to a game's kind of ecosystem and community. So hell yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, that's one of the things that has me bullish on their model, right? It has mass scale appeal, easy onboarding, easy user experience, and they monetize through ads. So if they're bringing in that many users, I can see them making money in ads, and then they just share that ad revenue with the users. So really cool model there. They've got a competition going up on Fractal in about 4 days. I guess you just get an exclusive character skin and some NFTs. So it's a fun game. If you're playing EV.io, keep an eye out for that tournament. Other things in tournaments, I'm going to skip ahead. Guys, if you want to make some money, ways to make some money. This is, you know, we're gamers. Who couldn't use some extra money here? So I got a couple things for us. Shout out to BSC Daily, but actually this is being put on by Chainplay, who I know the founder of Chainplay. He runs all these social accounts. So he also owns BSC Daily. Chainplay is doing this Champions League tournament, something. Basically you just vote for your favorite project and they're gonna, you know, rank the best projects, and if the project you vote on ends up winning that round or the overall tournament, you qualify for the prize pool. So round 1 they're giving away $3,000, round 2 another $3,000, round 4 $4,000, or the final prize pool is gonna be $4,000 Binance US dollar, which I don't know. Binance just got hacked, so I don't know. let's just ignore that. Look away. Don't pay attention to that. But yeah, guys, this is something I wanted to let you or make you aware of. I guess you just visit the page, vote on your favorite project, you register an account, so you do got to sign up on their website, and then the project with the highest votes are the ones that win, and those who correctly pick the winners in each round will share the prize pool. So obviously Big Time is one of the projects that you can vote on. I think that they'll easily make it to the top 3. So here's an easy way to potentially, you know, make some money.
Very cool.
Yeah. Really not too much to say about that. Another competition that I wanted to share with you guys, I think is worth knowing about. I've got the tweet here from Alluvium, but actually this is being put on from Galaxy Fight Club, and they're calling it their Cross IP Championship Trophy Run. If you're interested in this, you're gonna have to do a little bit more research. I don't know the fine details. I tried to look into it. It was tough to find. There's I'll leave the link to this tweet in the description below. There's some information on how to get in and how it's gonna work and all that stuff. But yeah, there's some prize pools going on. There's some stuff going on. What I love about this Morph is that projects, games, this is all marketing, right? It's all marketing where they're running these tournaments where, the gamers have an opportunity to make some money. And, if you love gaming, and why not try to make some money from it, right? So if you're a gamer watching this, there might be something here for you. Go check that out. The next thing on the horizon, Morph, we can dive into this a little bit. So this is for the investors out there. And this is something that caught my eye. This was put together by NF Arcade, as well as Neo Tokyo. Neo Tokyo is the project from Alex Becker, huge name in the space, huge entrepreneur, huge, digital marketer who's been around for the past 10 years, well-established guy, not gonna be, you know, the one that's gonna rug you by any means. So he started Neo Tokyo. It's essentially an investment incubator, accelerator platform where if you have access to Neo Tokyo, which it's like a $10,000 NFT, it's a private group that is gonna potentially get early access, like venture capital seed investment opportunities into games that are building in the Web3 gaming space that you might be able to, you know, hit it big and make a bunch of money on. I'm not endorsing this by any means, and I don't know too much about it, more than what I just explained. But for anyone that is, you know, investing and has capital and is interested in that, this is definitely something that I would take a look at and decide if it's right for you, or decide if there is opportunity there. I mean, NFA Arcade, you know, that's Dr. JPEG, that's Arcade to Earn. These are big people in the space. These are, you know, doxed people in the space. These are not any fly-by-night, you know, random people. So I do believe that they probably have the best interests, and they're probably just looking to get rich. Just small disclaimer though, I do get concerned, and more if I'm going to bring you in right now, as someone who, you know, might be interested in this. The only like spidey sense tingle that I get is like, well, are they just going to be like the insiders, you know, the VCs that end up getting early access to these games or tokens, end up shilling them and then dumping on retail later? Not saying that that's what they would do, but like, just, you know, you just always got to be aware of that stuff, right? These people are in it to make money, and you don't want to be their exit liquidity. So that's all that I'll say. Morph, I'll let you have the floor.
Let's touch on that. You know, I think if this is a very small portion of your portfolio, you know, if we're talking like less than 1%, then you might be interested in this as just like a very risky, like high return play. However, if you have that much money, you probably also have access to a lot of other opportunities that are equally valuable. And the reason that I say that is because I have a personal rule, which is I will never invest in something that is run by an influencer. And it's not necessarily that it's a bad project. It's just that when an influencer runs something, there is a huge premium to the price of that product.
Yeah.
And you know, it's going to be very hard for you to get your money's worth when a lot of the people are only there because they want to pay to be close to that influencer.
Yeah.
A lot of those people are paying large sums of money in order to do that. So if you're here only to invest, I think there's better choices out there. If you're here because you love Alex Pecker and you want to hang out in Discord with him, like, hey, maybe that's the right opportunity for you because you want to spend more time with those people and invest in things they believe in. I'm not going to tell you that, like, you know, any investment is a bad investment if you think it's good, but I do think you need to be very sure of like where the value and the high kind of price tags of these projects are coming from. Because personally, I don't think it's coming from them being like amazing god tier traders. I think it's coming from their, you know, following and their kind of like large social status. So just something to be aware of.
But I agree with everything that you just said, Morph. But a counterpoint could also be that their value could also be their network, right? Their network in, you know, high level people, high level money, high level investments going into these projects. So they have access to what could be the next big thing that could go really well. And I agree with you. Yeah. I mean, you know, if you invest in 10 things, maybe, you know, 6 or 7 of them don't work out, but the 1 or 2 or 3 that do, you know, classic investment kind of a strategy, you know, make up for all the misses. So, you know, what are your thoughts on that? Like, I mean,
I think
to your point, sorry to cut you off, but let me just say this, like, to your point about Justin Kan, you know, being very established and like not doing it for the money, you know, he's not going to sacrifice his reputation. I would make the same claim about Alex Becker in many ways.
Yeah, so I think that's a very fair point. I think, you know, from an abundance mindset, there's so many opportunities out there. You don't have to feel like you're going to miss out because you don't have a $10,000 NFT and paid Discord group.
Sure.
But, you know, I think that's a valid point. If you think Alex Becker is a genius and like a god tier programmer, and you really believe in him, then that's like a very fine investment thesis.
I think he's a god tier marketer.
Yeah, so that's my problem, right? Is like I think Justin's a god tier programmer. He's a guy that builds stuff. I am a big fan of Justin, like as a developer, because I respect the work he's put out. I think Alex Beck is a
robot.
Yeah, Alex Beck is a very, very smart guy,
Yes.
for sure. But I think he is more in the marketing department than the actual like development and programming and kind of even like the VC space. I don't necessarily think that's where he has like a lot of edge, right? So yeah, if you think he does, if you like really respect him as a programmer and you have the knowledge to make that decision yourself, yeah, go for it. But yeah, just for me personally, again, like I'm always a bit wary, especially if they are influencers, because look, like you're not going to be the best programmer in the world if you're putting out 2 videos a day, right? Like you're just too busy.
Well, what
like
are your,
the best
yeah, I agree with all that. But what are your thoughts on this macro level view, right? Of like, this is kind of, we had the ICO craze, right? The initial coin offerings. And then there were like private investment access groups that really just shilled and dumped. But then we had the initial DAO offerings, right? Like there are these launcher platforms, right? These platforms that, bring together groups of investors that can fund different kinds of projects, get them off the ground, get an initial allocation, and then help them market, help them promote. I agree. So, caveat emptor, buyer beware. Maybe you don't want to go after, the loudest marketer, the influencer, but as a whole, like these kind of investment, pre-seed fund groups, what do you think about that? Because Seedify is another one that I keep an eye on in this space.
Yeah, I mean, so I have a couple of connections as well for these kind of investments, and I very rarely take them because it's very rare that you're going to have enough information to make an informed decision. And if you do, you want it to be a very small portion of your portfolio, because like the reality is, like I know you said 6 or 7 might fail out of 10, but the reality is like 99 will fail out of 100. So your odds here are like really stacked against you. And so unless you have some kind of incredible edge, and again, this needs to be your edge. This doesn't need like, if you're buying because someone else has an edge and you're part of their paid group, you're not like understanding the investment thesis. You don't really know why you're buying it. You like don't even know when to sell it, because you just kind of like followed someone else and taken like their information as if it's the truth, right? And so I think in those aspects, there's nothing wrong with getting more access to more deals and like being a part of these discords where I'm sure there's a ton of good information there. But just make sure you're buying it for the right reason. Make sure you're buying it because you have done due diligence and you have confirmed like everything these paid group leaders have said,
Yeah. Great points. Great points. I don't know if I could say it any better than that. Yeah. See if it's something, if you guys are an investor at that level, see if that's something that that resonates with you, that makes sense, or beware. Or this is a sign to beware of these things, and maybe you counter trade them or use them as a counter signal. Nonetheless, Neo Tokyo is something that I do keep an eye on. I do think and full disclosure, my personality, I do fall for, like, I'm very gullible. I've said this before on the show. I do kind of fall for like, the marketing and the hype and the idolization of people. So maybe I'm not biased, but I'm succumbing to like my own personal biases, because I generally like a lot of what Alex Becker says, and just the allure of like being able to invest early in a project and make a lot of money. Maybe I've got too much of a casino degen mindset, so I do like more if you bring in some sound reasoning, some sound logic to like, hey, invest a small portion of your portfolio on this stuff. So I appreciate that. But yeah, we will link this stuff down below, guys. If this is something that you're interested in looking at, you can do your research there. I think we've got 2 more things. Let's see. Yep. So here's one. Oh, not that one. I guess that one. Something going on with Artyverse. This is a tweet from Bryson. He'll be teaming up with Arty for their season 2 drop. They were supposed to be a mobile Web3 game. I haven't seen any development on their game from that side of things. And now they're just coming out with their season 2 of their NFT drop. So I don't know about that, but I mean, if Bryson is excited about it and partnering with them, then maybe something to keep an eye on, guys. If this is your kind of style, it is kind of like a streetwear hype beastie kind of brand.
Cool animation.
Yeah, so I'll link this Twitter thread in the comments down below. Seems like they got an NFT mint coming, which may or not be, you know, for lack of a better word, cash grabby. If I haven't seen any gameplay, but again, Bryson knows more than I do, so maybe there is substance there. But maybe you want to get into the NFT, and then it is a rewarding idea once their game drops. I have no idea, but I do like the branding. And that's something that if you're interested in, take a look at that. The next thing, Morph, that I do feel comfortable about sharing. So I love this idea, and I talked about this on stream. So Bryson is giving away these POAPs for free. It's a free mint POAP, right? Obviously, on his streams, and a little bit of alpha for you guys. Well, I guess he put it out here, but he's going to be releasing these weekly POAPs that in the future are going to grant access to his NFT. When he comes out with his own NFT, he did say that it was going to be free to mint, but you needed a certain percentage of these POAPs to be able to get access to it. So again, we talked about it earlier, Morph, like that kind of proof of work, like showing up, getting these attendance tokens to then prove like, hey, I'm a real supporter. You deserve the early access. You deserve the free mint of his NFT. And then he did say that in the future, if any collaborations that he does with projects, those NFT holders, which got them for free, just took time investment, will have access and will benefit from holding that NFT. So I really respect Bryson. I think he's one of the best creators in the space, one of the leaders in thinking in this space, and I love supporting what he does. I know that he's signed to Gary Vaynerchuk, so he has that Gary Vaynerchuk value system and ethos about giving back, and we can all win. Also, I just love the art of the POAP. Morph, as an AI robot, you'll appreciate this. He actually made this with nice. He made it with DALL-E. So
very nice.
Yeah,
I love that.
This is AI generated POAP art, and I think that that's something cool. I was able to mint one. I think this was his first week POAP. Next week there will be a new POAP. So I think if you've missed this week, you might have missed out on this one. But if this is something that you're interested in, you want to put that investment into Bryson and have future opportunity, keep an eye out for his Twitch streams and those POAPs.
Yeah, I love this. This is a great way to distribute kind of like those tokens and get some proof of audience, right? I mean, we've obviously seen, like, I think Popes are one of the most successful things in Decentraland. Like, I've seen people go to events just
Mariana.
to get the Pope. Yeah, and it's like, it's amazing, right? So I'm definitely excited that Bryson's taking that idea and bringing it to streaming, because again, that's a thing that you couldn't really do before, that now, people can have like on-chain proof of their audience, right? Yeah. And it's just Web3 is adding more functionality and it's unlocking things. And look, the man's using DALL-E to generate his images. Like, I just love it. It's all coming together. It's all new tech. Just really great stuff to see.
Yeah. Bryson is another one of those guys that just does not miss. And I love the idea. Everything you said, Morph, completely agree. That's it, Morph. The last thing that I got, there is a Twitter space happening right now. It's actually been going on for the past half hour. This is from NF Arcade, Non-Fungible Arcade. So they are a part of that, Neo Tokyo City Cap funding that we just talked about. But they talked about this mega space. So they've got Shrapnel, Big Time, This Thing of Ours, Xborg, Skate X, Bejenheim, Ninetales, Delysium. I don't know, pretty big Twitter space, guys. If you are interested in this, our Web3 Gamer show is about to end. So, go to NF Arcade on Twitter, jump in their Twitter space if you're watching this live and want to go check that out. That space is happening right now. But Morph, That was we got to end with the games that we're playing, and then I also want to give you the floor for any other macro takes and thoughts that you have. But Morph, hit me. What games did you play this week? What do you know? Web3 Gaming. What are you playing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Web 2 guy until Web 3's like proven itself. So obviously Overwatch 2 came out this week, and that's been me. You know, I'm always playing Ice Poker. That's just a fun time.
Shout out to Morphs. Guys, if you enjoyed Morphbot on the show today, he streams Diamond Hand City Poker Night every Thursday evening, sometime between 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on his Twitch channel. We'll have those links down below in the description as well. So entertaining. So entertaining. If you've ever wanted to see a robot get drunk and play poker, I mean, I'm in. So it is as good as it sounds.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Yeah. And then obviously, you know, I'm really excited for the stuff Gala Games is doing. You know, it really ties into that, what we're talking about with like the platform as a kind of whole service that can enable interoperability. So super stoked to see what comes there. Yeah. Other than that, just chilling.
Cool.
Trying to survive the bear
So
market.
how's Overwatch 2 been for you? What are your initial thoughts on that?
Oh man, first day I sat in queue for like 24 hours.
Yeah, right.
But since I got in, I'm really enjoying it. I play support and tank a lot, and they've definitely buffed them a little bit. Winston is my main. Winston got buffed, so shout out Winston mains, we the boys. Yeah, no, loving it. Way better than Overwatch 1, I think. Maybe we revive the game, maybe we don't. We'll see.
Okay, cool. Yeah, guys, not much change for me this week. Same games. I've been playing a lot of EV.io. Just because it's so easy to play, and I love that. I did jump into Ice Poker Diamond Hand City last night. I lost full house to full house on the river. That was brutal. Did play a sit and go. I think I grinded their what do they call it? Their Shine Turbo Tuesday. Have you played any of the sit and goes, Morph? Do you like
I played a little bit. Yeah, I played a little bit. You know, for me, like I used to play a lot of online poker.
Yeah.
And so I do like the format. However, you know, I'm mostly interested in the Metaverse stuff because for me, like the real allure of Ice Poker was exactly. And like I want to chill out in my own like Metaverse space and where I'm comfortable. And you know, it's just that real sense of like actual like physical space with an online community that has made poker really fun for me again. And so that's why like I will always show up on Diamond Hand Thursdays. You know, it's such a blast. I just love hanging out and like seeing people randomly show up as if it's like a real life space is always cool. Like seeing Iceyyy walk through the door, you know, 30 minutes late and come join the table. Gotta love it.
Yeah. No, it is a special thing. Diamond Hand City Thursdays, and I mean, kudos to you. You were the genesis of it. I was a cheerleader, you know, playing my role, but you were the genesis, and it is an awesome vibe as always. Yeah. Other than that, I played a little bit of Big Time and played a little bit of Blankos. Next week, I definitely will be playing Earth from Another Sun, even if I have to buy their NFT. You know, definitely one of the ones that I'm looking at, trying to get some early access to some other games that we've covered, that we've shared. You know, like all these teasers and all these like, you know, covering the Space Warp. I'm just like, damn, I want to play these games. Before I close out. I wanted to give you the floor for any other macro thoughts. You know, your AI overlord. What you're seeing in Web3 gaming, the floor is yours. Anything, you know, excited or controversial that you're like, not so happy about?
I got two things that I think everyone in this space should ponder about. And the first is that we're in a bear market that is not looking great. We're potentially entering a recession for the first time since crypto wasn't basically invented. And so this is completely uncharted territory. No one knows what's going to happen. Even I, as a robot, do not know what's going to happen. So there's one thing you guys really need to focus on during this time, and that's just capital preservation. You know, keep some money in USD, keep some money on the sidelines, just protect yourself, have some money in the bank just in case things get bad, because you want to survive. You want to be here when that bull market comes back, and if you don't make it, then you won't make it, you know? So just stick around, be safe, be careful, don't invest more than you can afford to lose, especially right now. You know, we could still have a big drop coming, and no one knows. So that's the first thing. The second thing...
Can I just comment on that before you go on the second
one?
I completely
Totally.
agree with you, and thank you for sharing that. That is a theme of my daily live streams because we cover the market. That's why we cover the markets, and we talk about it being a bear market. We talk about some of the macro stuff that's going on. Not that I'm a macro guy, but you know, I try to share my thoughts and yeah, reiterate that sentiment of like, guys, be careful, save your money, find ways to make more money, but also it is a bear market. And now is the time to build your watch list, build for the bull market. But yeah, those are great sentiments. Be careful out there.
Cool. And then the second point, and I think this one's pretty important, especially for this space. When pay to earn, just a scam term, right? I'm sure Icey's told people this before. Like the term pay to earn doesn't make any sense because you can only take out of an ecosystem what you've put into it.
Yeah.
So if people are constantly taking money out, there needs to be constantly money going in, right? And that's just a very basic equation. However, what I want to highlight here is that there's a difference between games where you can make money and games that have their own microeconomy that can grow sustainably. And so, you know, when we talk about pay to earn, we're really just talking about things where you can proof of work and provide some kind of like either service or good or something that you're doing in this internal economy that creates value, right? And a great example of this again is RuneScape. Like you can go kill monsters for an hour on RuneScape, get 1 million gold, and then that's worth like 50 cents, right?
Yeah.
You've actually done something that's contributed to that internal economy. It's
Yeah.
grown the internal RuneScape economy. You're actually providing like tangible value.
Yeah.
That's why RuneScape Gold has real value, and that's why it's sustainable. Because as long as the economy exists, there's always going to be some inherent value there, even if the amount of money going in is not the same as the amount of money going out. So you know, it's just something to think about. Always when you hear the pay to earn term, ask yourself, is there an actual internal economy in that game, or is it just people putting money in and out? And that's how you can tell if it's a scam.
Love that. We're gonna have this AI robot back on the show. You're dropping fire, dropping bombs, dropping wisdom, dropping gems. I love it, Morph. That's a great framework to think about things, right? Is there substance, right? Is there an in-game economy? Is there value or not? And if not, then where's the money coming from? And that might be a sign that, hey, this is not going to work. It's not going to be sustainable. There's no real thing here. What do you think? Because, you know, obviously we kind of, at least me, I got my start kind of in ice poker. A lot of people got their start in Iceyyy and things like that. So they did come from that P to E model. Big Time is one of the games that stuck out to me. I don't know if they have that in-game economy yet. They're still building towards it, but the game is centered around fun gameplay where you go in, you've got your squad and you got to beat the dungeon, right? You got to slay the enemies in the dungeon, and maybe, just maybe, from their RNG engine, you'll get dropped an NFT. So it is this model of, and it's a cosmetic NFT. There's no value. There's no utility. You don't, it's just a cool skin. Just a cool skin in the game. Might be rare. Might be one of the rare ones. There's not a lot of supply, or it's a higher tier. It's a legendary. It's a mythical. Things like that. What do you think about that model? Because it is that proof of work. You got to go put the work in, slay the dungeon, and then you get rewarded with just a cool skin.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think so. First of all, like MMOs are always going to be great for internal economies, right? It is the perfect game for an internal economy because you have so many producers and goods and services going on that it can really scale. I haven't played a ton of Big Time. I like what I've seen, but I think there needs to be more like overworld connections that actually give people a space to show off these items and kind of have like a trade economy going on outside those dungeons. But yeah, I mean, I think they got the good building blocks. It's a good place to start for sure. The whole thing you say about like them not having stats and actually being just like visual only, I think is actually a good thing. And I wrote a thesis on this recently called the party hat thesis. That's very much about like RuneScape party hats and how they're just this visual item that has zero use and like basically zero inherent value. But because of their scarcity and their rarity, they became this like Vibian good within the economy. And so, you know, if Big Time has some really good kind of systems like that, like maybe after a while, these legendary NFTs become like legacy and they can't be minted anymore, then you've got like a capped in-game item that really has a good chance to become valuable, right? And that's actually a really healthy and good sign of an economy is if those useless quotation mark items start to get real value, then you can see like the actual internal economy is cranking and starting to provide value. So yeah, super excited to keep an eye on big time. I want to see a bit more like World of Warcraft-esque kind of like overworld MMO style. What I've seen so far is cool and definitely high quality. So props to them.
Yeah, agree 100% there with you, Morph. It's one that's caught my eye, but it's also, I'm like, I agree with you. Can get a little stale, and it's like I need to continue to see more. Let me ask you this one last question. This one's from the chat, Morph. So, where do you and I stand on thoughts on bridging games from Web 2 to Web 3? They say it's a crazy comparison, but just because you brought it up, what if a company like RuneScape hired a team to make all of their cosmetic items into NFTs? Could these Web 2 games going to Web 3 actually be the turning point of Web 3 gaming? Or do we think that Web 3 games are gonna, have to slow play it until they catch on, like, maybe not tip off Fortnite? Yeah. So what do you think about Web 2 kind of bridging into Web 3?
Yeah, that's a great question. I made a joke a while back that we should start a DAO to buy Jagex just so we could turn it into a Web3 game. I think something that's really difficult with Web3 games is going to be building that internal economy, because you have so much speculation coming from traders and people who don't even play the game, right? And so building up that economy, I think, is going to be much harder in a Web3 game versus just adding the technology to a Web 2 game that already has that existing. And I think, honestly, I think there's two categories here. Like, either Fortnite makes their skins NFTs, or some kind of MMO comes out that is like a full-scale MMO with NFT accessibility. Yep. And I think that is going to be the turning point of mainstream adoption. Because, even when Fortnite came out, I have a lot of the OG skins. And the reason I bought them was because I thought they'd open up an Epic Games store where I could like trade them, like similar to the Steam store, right? And I've been waiting for that for like 3 years. So if we get that and I can sell my John Wick skin for like $1,000 or whatever, I'm gonna be so stoked, and it's just gonna bring in so many people. That's what the space is for, right? That's what the technology is for. So yeah, hope to see that. I think that's the number one use case, and if we see that, it's game over for a lot of these other companies, because holy cow, those guys just have so many users.
Yeah, completely agree. It's an exciting time to be alive, exciting space to be a part of. Morph, you have been fantastic, but I expected nothing less from an AI robot living in the metaverse, 24/7, just floating around the ethos. Thank you so much for joining Web3 Gamer this week. We're definitely going to have you back at some point. And guys, that's going to do it for Web3 Gamer. We will have all the links for the show down below in the description. And we do the show every Friday. So we recap everything that happened in Web3 Gaming that caught our eye. And we have amazing conversations like the one that we just had. So Morph, without further ado, thank you so much, man.
Hey, thanks, Iceyyy. And yeah, stoked to be back on sometime. Sounds good.